but a simple 2009 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. It looks ordinary. It sounds ordinary. But the truth behind it is anything but. Because somewhere in America, a few of these innocent little copper coins are shocking collectors, changing lives, and rewriting everything we thought we knew about modern coinage. It all starts with the year 2009, the 200th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. The U.S. Mint decided to celebrate with something special, for different reverse designs, each telling a part of Lincoln's life story. Collectors lined up for them, coin dealers stacked them high. But no one expected a mystery to slip through the cracks, a small batch of pennies with no mint mark, unlike any others. Now imagine finding one in your pocket. It looks like any other penny. The familiar face of Lincoln, calm and wise. But right beneath the date, nothing. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. No P for Philadelphia. Just the number 2009 and emptiness. That tiny absence could be worth a fortune. At first, no one noticed. These coins circulated quietly, hidden among billions of regular pennies. Some were spent on coffee, some lost in couches, others buried in change jars across America. But then, a sharp-eyed collector spotted something strange, a 2009 Lincoln penny that seemed off. When he magnified it, the details leapt out. Sharper relief, slightly heavier weight, and that missing mint mark. It wasn't just an error, it was a mystery. Even today, numismatists can't fully agree. Some claim they were struck on leftover 95% copper planchets, identical to the pre-1982 composition. If that's true, it means the U.S. Mint accidentally used old materials on new designs. A perfect storm for a rare million-dollar mistake. An older collector sitting at his desk, flipping through his old change, when his magnifying glass catches the gleam of a 2009 penny. He leans in closer. No mint mark. His heart skips. He flips it over, and there it is, the log cabin reverse. The very first design of the 2009 Lincoln Bicentennial Series struck in error. He sends it off for grading. Weeks later, the call comes. His coin isn't worth 1 cent. It's worth over $1 million. If that doesn't give you chills, think about this. The same thing could happen to anyone. That same coin could be sitting in a cup holder, a kitchen drawer, or a jar full of loose change right now. Let's break down exactly how to spot one. Start with the obverse. That's the front of the coin. Look at the year, 2009. Then check directly under the date. You should see nothing. Absolutely no mint mark. Most 2009 pennies have a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia, depending on where they were minted. If yours has no mark at all, set it aside. The log cabin, Lincoln's birthplace. The Indiana rail splitter, formative years. The Illinois state capitol, professional life. And the Washington, D.C. Capitol Dome, presidency. All four can exist in the no mint mark variation, but the log cabin design is the most sought after. Under good lighting, look closely at the details, sharpness of Lincoln's features, clarity in the lines of the cabin or the rails. A genuine error coin will often have deeper strikes and slightly off-toned copper, not shiny red, but a rich, dark hue, like aged metal. Weigh it if you can. A true copper planchet penny weighs about 3.11 grams, while newer zinc ones are only 2.5 grams. That small difference could mean a difference of $1 million. Every collector dreams of that life-changing find. And that's what makes this coin so powerful. It's not just about money. It's about hope. It's about the idea that even in something as small and ordinary as a penny, there can be greatness hidden in plain sight. Imagine walking into a coin shop with your jar of change. The dealer smiles politely, expecting nothing special. Then you hand him the 2009 penny. He freezes. His magnifying glass comes out. His face changes. He looks up at you slowly and says, "Do you have any idea what this is?" Your hands shake as you realize what you've just discovered. A rare no mint mark Lincoln Bicentennial penny, authenticated and valued at over $1 million. Collectors all over the country are now hunting for these. They're searching old jars, estate sales, even vending machines. One was found in a parking lot, another in a child's piggy bank. It's not just a coin hunt anymore. It's a modern gold rush. Was it an honest mistake or a secret test for a new minting process? The official records are silent. Some believe that during the transition to new minting dies in 2009, certain test strikes were accidentally released without marks. Others say it was intentional. a symbolic nod to the earliest Lincoln cents of 1909, which also lacked mint marks. Whatever the truth is, it makes the coin even more mysterious. Now let's reset for a moment. Imagine your own hands holding one. Feel the texture, the ridges, the faint warmth of copper. You tilt it under the light. The face of Lincoln stares back, as if he knows the secret you're about to uncover. No mint mark. You smile. You check the weight. 3.11 grams. Your heart races. Thousands of people have dismissed pennies like this, spending them without a second thought. They've been dropped in drive-through windows, handed to cashiers, swept off countertops. And yet, one of them could be the very coin that changes everything. If you ever needed a reason to check your change, this is it. Don't just look for silver or old wheat pennies. Look closely at those 2009s. Because the missing mint mark is the key. That's the sign that separates an ordinary cent from a life-changing discovery. Collectors have already started calling it the phantom penny, because it appears normal until you truly see it. Dealers whisper about it in forums. Auction houses wait for the next one to surface. When it does, headlines will explode again. 2009 no mint mark Lincoln penny sells for over $1 million. You can almost hear the gasp when people realize what they had and what they let slip through their fingers. One coin, 1 cent, $1 million. Every few decades, a discovery like this shakes the coin world. The 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double die, the 1982 small date copper. Each one turned pocket change into a treasure chest. And now, the 2009 no mint mark Lincoln penny joins that legendary list. But what if I told you that one 1994 Lincoln penny, missing just a single tiny detail, could be worth $1.1 million? Somewhere in the United States, this coin is still out there, hiding in plain sight. Every great discovery begins with disbelief. That's exactly what happened when a collector in the Midwest stumbled upon a 1994 Lincoln cent that didn't look quite right. Under the bright glare of a magnifying lamp, he noticed something strange. There was no mint mark. No tiny D for Denver, no S for San Francisco. Just a smooth, blank space beneath the date. At first, he thought it was worn away. But as he looked closer, he realized the truth. It was never there. To understand why, you need to know the story behind America's most produced coin, the Lincoln cent. Since 1909, this little copper-colored coin has told the story of our nation's economy, our culture, and our mistakes. The mint mark, that tiny letter on the front, tells you where it was made: Denver, San Francisco, or Philadelphia. But here's the twist. In 1994, all Philadelphia pennies should have had no mint mark, unless something went terribly wrong during production. Now, imagine the suspense in that collector's heart when experts confirmed what he found. This wasn't just a common cent. This was a coin struck under rare and mysterious circumstances, one of only a few known examples of the 1994 no mint mark Lincoln penny that shouldn't exist. A coin born from error, preserved by fate, and now valued at over $1 million. Think about that for a moment. A single cent, worth more than a luxury home, worth more than most people earn in a lifetime. And it's not in a museum. It could be sitting in a coffee can, a coin jar, or tucked away in someone's pocket change right now. The mystery deepens when you realize how easily this coin hides. To the naked eye, it looks like any other 1994 penny. Same copper tone, same familiar face of Abraham Lincoln, same memorial building on the back. But the key difference is that blank space below the date. No D, no S, just nothing. And that nothing is everything. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Every few years, another collector reports finding a strange 1994 penny missing its mint mark. Some turn out to be fakes, altered coins, scraped or smoothed to mimic the error. But every so often, one turns out to be real. That's when experts go silent. The grading companies pull out microscopes, analyze the strike, the die, the metal composition. They know what they're looking for: the texture of the original strike, the unique imperfections that only come from the minting process itself. Imagine being in that room, waiting for the result. Your heart pounding, your palms sweating. Then the grader looks up, removes his glasses, and says the words every coin hunter dreams of hearing. It's genuine. That's when life changes forever. But here's the truth. These coins don't announce themselves. They're not shiny. They're not flashy. They're quiet little pieces of history that slip through the cracks of time. You might have one already and not even know it. Here's how to find out. Grab your magnifying glass and your 1994 pennies. Hold one under a bright light. Look closely below the date. You should see a tiny D or S. If you don't, and there's no sign that the metal's been scraped or tampered with, you could be looking at something extraordinary. Now flip it over. Check the back for sharp, clean details. The Lincoln Memorial should be crisp, the steps clearly visible. Real errors often come from early dies, coins struck before the mince machines were down. That means better detail, stronger impressions, and a solid rim. Next, weigh it. A genuine 1994 penny should weigh about 2.5 grams if it's made of zinc-coated copper. Anything heavier could be an earlier planchet, which makes it even rarer. Every detail counts, because that's what separates an ordinary penny from a one-in-a-billion treasure. But the real magic is the story these coins carry. Think about it. A simple factory mistake, a momentary oversight by a mint worker decades ago, turned an everyday coin into a piece of modern treasure. It's a reminder that even the smallest things, the ones we overlook, can hold unimaginable value. Every collector dreams of that one moment, when they open an old coin roll, and there it is. The coin that changes everything. The coin that makes them part of history. And for some, that dream has come true. Private collectors and auction houses have paid staggering amounts. One verified 1994 no-mint mark penny fetched over $1 million in a private sale. $1 million. For a coin most people would spend on a pack of gum.as. You hear this. Thousands of collectors across America are checking their change, scouring old drawers, searching coin jars that have sat untouched for decades. Why? Because they know that lightning can strike again. Imagine the feeling of realizing your ordinary penny is actually worth over $1 million. That moment when disbelief turns to joy. When the weight of that coin in your hand suddenly feels heavier, not in metal, but in meaning. This isn't just about money. It's about possibility. About the idea that something so small, so overlooked, can carry such immense power. It's about the mystery and magic of discovery. The thrill that lives inside every coin collector's heart. The next time you find yourself holding a 1994 Lincoln penny, don't rush to spend it. Look closer. Let your curiosity guide you. Because what looks like nothing could be everything. Collectors have spent their lives chasing these legends. Some never find them. Others find one coin that changes their destiny forever. Which will you be? Because this story isn't over. The mint never officially confirmed how many of these error coins were struck, or if they even meant for them to exist at all. That's what keeps the legend alive. Somewhere, hidden in plain sight, there are still undiscovered 1994 no-mint mark pennies waiting to be found. But what if I told you that one of these unassuming 1980 Lincoln pennies, without a mint mark, could secretly be worth over $1.2 million? That's right. A coin that could change your life might already be in your home, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with the right knowledge to uncover its true value. A man in Pennsylvania walks into a small coin shop carrying a handful of old change. Among those pennies, one stands out. It has no mint mark. The shop owner takes a closer look under magnification. His hands start to tremble. He realizes what he's holding isn't just a cent. It's a rare error coin, a once-in-a-lifetime discovery worth a fortune. For years, collectors have hunted this elusive 1980 no-mint mark penny. Most people overlook it, tossing it into jars, drawers, and coin rolls without a second thought. But those who know what to look for, they know the difference between a 1-cent coin and a one-in-a-million treasure. To understand its mystery, we need to travel back to 1980, a year of transition for the U.S. Mint. The Philadelphia Mint, which struck billions of pennies, typically didn't use mint marks. So most 1980 pennies have no mark below the date. But there's a twist. Certain pennies struck that year had errors so unique, so rare, they turned ordinary copper into a collector's dream. You see, the combination of metal composition, die variety, and striking errors has made this coin a legend among numismatists. Some examples show double die obverse errors, where the letters in Liberty or the date, 1980, appear slightly doubled. Others have off-center strikes or missing layers of copper plating. Each imperfection can dramatically increase its value, transforming a 1-cent coin into something worth thousands. And in one extreme, over $1 million. If you're holding a 1980 penny, look closely. First, the weight. Genuine copper pennies from 1980 should weigh about 3.11 grams. Use a precise digital scale. If it's lighter, around 2.5 grams, you're holding a later zinc-based version, not as valuable. But if it's heavy and you can see that rich copper tone beneath the surface, you've already got something special. Next, check for that missing mint mark. There should be nothing under the date. No D, no S, nothing at all. That's your first sign. Then, examine the details on Lincoln's face, the word liberty, and the phrase, "In God we trust." If you notice any doubling or distortion, especially around the letters, you may be staring at a rare double-die variety. One of the keys to that million-dollar value. Collectors across the United States have spent decades chasing these error coins. Some have found them tucked inside bank rolls. Others stumbled upon them at flea markets or estate sales, not realizing the treasure they were holding. And every so often, one discovery changes a person's entire life. Imagine finding a penny and realizing it could pay off your mortgage, send your kids to college, or fund your retirement. That emotional rush, that moment when you realize your luck has finally turned. It's what drives collectors to keep searching. The condition of the coin is everything. Grading is what determines whether a coin is just interesting or life-changing. A flawless, uncirculated 1980 no-mint mark penny with a clear error or doubling can be worth tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands, depending on demand and rarity. Combine that with a unique striking mistake or composition anomaly, and you're suddenly looking at the million-dollar range. It's not just the metal. It's the story. It's the mystery of how a coin that was supposed to be identical to billions of others ended up different, unique, like lightning captured in copper. It's a reminder that even in something as ordinary as pocket change, there's a chance at extraordinary discovery. Every coin tells a story. Some are tales of precision, others of imperfection. And it's those imperfections that collectors crave. The tiniest flaw can make the biggest difference. So grab your magnifying glass, your scale, and your patience, because the thrill of the hunt is part of the reward. Millions of these 1980 pennies were struck, but only a handful have shown the rare combination of features that could push their value past $1 million. That's what keeps the mystery alive. The possibility that another is still out there, waiting to be found by someone just like you. Every time you open a coin roll, every time you check your pocket change, you're taking part in a treasure hunt that's been going on for generations. It's not about luck alone. It's about knowledge, curiosity, and the courage to look closer. Imagine the moment you finally see it. The penny that looks just slightly different. You weigh it, inspect it, your heart races as you realize what it could be. You send it for grading. Weeks later, the results come back. Genuine, rare, valuable beyond imagination. In that instant, your life changes forever. Collectors have always said that the rarest finds come to those who never stop searching. Because these coins don't hide in faraway vaults. They hide in plain sight, among the billions of everyday coins people overlook. So take another look at those 1980 pennies sitting in a jar. Don't dismiss them as pocket change. Don't assume they're worthless just because they're old. Because the truth is, one of those coins could be your million-dollar ticket. The one discovery that turns an ordinary day into a historic one. But what if I told you that one of these everyday coins, a 1970 Lincoln penny, could be worth over $1.3 million? Yes, a single cent that could rewrite your future, hiding in plain sight. It all began over 50 years ago, deep inside the Denver Mint. The year was 1970. America was changing fast, and so was the Mint. Machines thundered, dies clashed, and somewhere in that chaos, a mistake was made. A small, almost invisible error that would later shock collectors around the world. Out of millions of coins struck that year, just a handful carried a secret. A double date so precise, so unique, it would become legendary. For decades, nobody noticed. The coin circulated quietly through gas stations, lunch counters, and laundromats. People spent it, saved it, lost it. It might have been in a child's piggy bank or rolling across a diner counter one early morning. But to the trained eye, this coin is a treasure disguised as trash. The 1970 double die penny. If you find one, you're not just lucky, you've uncovered history. And that history could be worth more than $1 million. Now, Here's what makes it truly mysterious. The doubling isn't where you'd expect it. On the 1970 D penny, it hides in the date, that 1970, and sometimes on the word liberty. Look closely under magnification, and you'll see the faint, ghost-like shadow of a second number, slightly offset. The 7 and 0 appear doubled, as if the coin itself was struck twice in a single heartbeat. That microscopic misalignment turned copper into fortune. Take a breath. Let that sink in. A 1-cent coin, struck wrong, now valued at over $1 million. And yet, millions of Americans walk past it every day, unaware. Collectors call it one of the most dramatic double dies in U.S. history. And here's the twist. Many were melted down or lost forever. But a few escaped the mint's grasp and slipped quietly into circulation. Somewhere in your change, your old coffee can, or your father's desk drawer, that penny could be waiting. Imagine the moment you recognize it, your hands trembling, your heart racing. You grab a magnifying glass, tilt the coin under the light, and there it is. That unmistakable doubling, proof of $1 million mistake. You're no longer looking at a coin. You're looking at a piece of American history that could change your life. Let's reset for a moment. Think about how many pennies you've handled in your lifetime. Thousands, maybe tens of thousands. Now imagine if just one of them, one overlooked 1970 D, holds your future in its copper shell. That's not fantasy. It's reality for the few who've discovered this hidden gem. The key is knowledge. Here's what you need to look for. First, the mint mark. It must be D for Denver. Not Philadelphia, not San Francisco. Next, the date, 1970. Under a strong magnifier, look for clear doubling on the numbers, especially the 7. It should look as though another faint 7 sits beneath or beside it. Some examples also show doubling in the word liberty, where the letters appear thick or shadowed. That if you find that, don't clean it. Don't polish it. Don't even rub it. You could erase thousands of dollars in value with a single wipe. Place it carefully in a soft holder or protective case. Then, get it authenticated by a trusted grading service like PCGS or NGC. Only then will you know the truth and the real value. Collectors have paid astonishing sums for verified examples. Stories circulate of one selling for over $1 million at private auction. And every time one surfaces, the entire coin community stops and stares. Because this is more than money. It's discovery. It's the thrill of realizing that something so ordinary could hold such extraordinary worth. Because they remind us that treasures still exist in the modern world. You don't need to dig through ancient ruins or dive to the ocean floor. Sometimes, the miracle is sitting right there in your pocket. The 1970 D penny isn't just a mint error. It's a symbol of chance, of overlooked potential. It's proof that the smallest things can carry the biggest surprises. And when you realize that truth, every handful of change feels different. Every penny you see might be the one that changes your life. People spend lifetimes chasing wealth, but here's the irony. Sometimes, fortune isn't found. It's noticed. A single glance, a careful look, a spark of curiosity. That's all it takes. So tonight, when you empty your pockets or open that old jar of coins, take a moment. Spread them out. Find every penny dated 1970. Turn each one under the light, searching the D, studying the date. That's how discoveries happen, not through luck, but through attention. The rarest coins often hide in the most ordinary places. History doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it whispers through a faint doubling on a tiny copper coin. Imagine the moment your phone rings after the appraisal. The expert tells you it's genuine, the rare 1970 D doubled die. The number they mention next freezes your breath. Over $1 million. You stare at that coin, once worthless in your eyes, now priceless. Your hands shake, and your mind spins with disbelief. That penny you almost spent on coffee is your ticket to freedom. Every collector dreams of that moment. The discovery, the validation, the realization that the impossible just became real. It's not about luck. It's about awareness. It's about curiosity. It's about believing that hidden treasures still exist, waiting for those who dare to look closer. Imagine this, a single penny, a simple 1964 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, hiding in plain sight. Ordinary copper, dull from years of circulation, yet possibly worth over $1.4 million. It could be sitting in a jar, in a glove box, or resting at the bottom of your dresser drawer right now. And almost nobody knows it. For decades, collectors believed there was nothing special about the 1964 penny. Billions were made. People spent them, tossed them, ignored them. But a few sharp-eyed numismatists started whispering about something strange. A penny that looked normal, but wasn't. One that defied explanation. A mystery buried beneath the copper surface of America's most common coin. This coin doesn't have a mint mark. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Just the face of Abraham Lincoln and a date, 1964. To most people, it's nothing. To a trained eye, it's a gateway to $1 million discovery. Because in a sea of ordinary coins, a few rare errors slipped through. Coins struck with unique die varieties, double dies, and minting flaws so subtle that even professional graders missed them for years. Imagine holding a handful of pennies and not realizing one could buy you a house, a car, maybe even your dream life. That's what keeps collectors awake at night. The chance that something so small could change everything. How could a 1964 penny, the most common year of the Lincoln Memorial design, become a millionaire maker? The story begins at the Philadelphia Mint. 1964 was a turbulent year in U.S. coinage history. Silver prices were skyrocketing, and the U.S. Mint was under enormous pressure to produce coins fast. Millions of nickels, dimes, and pennies were being struck daily. Mistakes were bound to happen. In the chaos, some planchets, the blank pieces of metal used for minting, were struck using leftover dies from earlier years, including those meant for special proof coins. Some were struck with doubled dies, meaning the inscriptions or Lincoln's profile were stamped twice at a slightly different angle. The result? Coins with a ghost-like doubling on the date, or on the words, "In God We Trust" and "Liberty." Those subtle distortions created the holy grail of modern pennies, the 1964 no-mint mark double die Lincoln cent. And the few that survived the mint's quality control are now worth small fortunes. Now picture yourself finding one. You reach into your coin jar, the one you haven't touched in years. The copper coins clink and slide between your fingers. One looks just a bit different. The numbers seem thicker, more shadowed, almost like they're vibrating. You tilt it under the light, and the 4 in 1964 seems to have a faint double image. Your pulse quickens. Could this be it? Collectors who found genuine varieties describe the moment like striking gold. Some have sold verified examples at major auctions for hundreds of thousands, even over $1 million. The difference between a penny and a life-changing discovery is a trained eye and patience. If you're holding a 1964 Lincoln penny right now, here's what you should look for. First, flip it under a bright light or magnifying glass. On the front, check the date, the 1, 9, 6, and 4. Any sign of doubling or shadowing could be key. Look especially at "In God We Trust" and "Liberty." Real double dies show clear separation between the letters, almost like a second layer of text. Then, check the coin's color and surface. The 1964 penny was made mostly of copper, 95% copper and 5% zinc. But rare transitional errors exist, struck on leftover bronze planchets from earlier years. Those can look darker, richer, and slightly heavier than normal. Weigh it if you can. A standard 1964 penny should weigh about 3.11 grams. Anything significantly lighter or heavier might be something special. Now, flip it to the reverse side. The Lincoln Memorial should be sharp and centered. Look closely at the word America. In some rare double die varieties, the letters E and C are doubled. You might also notice faint die cracks, lines from overused minting equipment, or off-center strikes. Each of those errors tells a story and can multiply the coin's value dramatically. Why now? Your heart's probably racing. That's normal. Every collector knows the thrill of discovery. It's not just about the money. It's about the connection to history, to craftsmanship, to the invisible mistakes that slip through time and become treasures. These coins don't announce themselves. They hide. They pass through hands for decades, through soda machines, pockets, tip jars, before someone finally looks close enough. The next person could be you. The record-setting 1964 no-mint mark penny was authenticated by a top grading company, encapsulated, and auctioned for over $1.4 million. A coin most people would have spent without a second thought became a legend. Every 1964 penny tells a story of persistence, of searching when others give up, of believing that the ordinary can be extraordinary. When you look through your change, remember this: no treasure reveals itself all at once. Sometimes it takes light, patience, and a little bit of faith. Collectors say that finding a coin like this isn't just luck, it's destiny. Because in a world where everything is mass-produced and predictable, a rare error coin reminds us that perfection isn't what makes something valuable. It's the flaws that do. So tonight, when you empty your pockets, take a moment. Spread those pennies across the table. Turn them under the light. Look closer. You might notice that faint doubling, that tiny imperfection, that hidden history that's been waiting for you all along. Because the truth is simple: the next great $1,000,000 coin isn't sitting in a vault or a museum. It's out there, moving quietly through the hands of ordinary people. Maybe yours, and if fate's on your side. If you look closely enough, carefully enough, patiently enough, you just might uncover the next 1964 no-mint Mark Lincoln penny that changes everything. A single 1982 Lincoln penny that looks like every other one you've ever seen. Yet it holds a secret powerful enough to change someone's life forever. Most people spend it without a second thought. But the few who know what to look for, they never let it go. Because this ordinary coin might just be the most extraordinary discovery of your life. The year was 1982. The U.S. Mint made a decision that would quietly divide history in half, and no one realized it. Rising copper prices forced the mint to change the penny's metal composition for the first time in over a century. Before 1982, every Lincoln cent was made of 95% copper. After 1982, they became mostly zinc, a cheaper, lighter metal coated with a whisper of copper. But during this transition, something mysterious happened. Both types, copper and zinc, were struck that year. And in the chaos of that switch, a handful of pennies slipped through the cracks. Among them was one coin that defied explanation. A 1982 Lincoln penny with no mint mark, struck in solid copper when it should have been zinc. For decades, no one knew it existed. It hid in change jars, slipped through vending machines, and passed from hand to hand unnoticed. Until a single collector discovered it, and the numismatic world erupted. Experts couldn't believe it. This wasn't supposed to happen. Every 1982 no-mint penny from Philadelphia should have been zinc by that point in production. Yet this one, against all logic, was made of copper. That difference, just 0.6 grams heavier, turned a 1-cent coin into a $1.5 million miracle. Now imagine this. You're sorting through your old change, maybe from your parents or grandparents, and your fingers stop on a coin that feels heavier than the others. Could it be the one? Could this be the copper 1982 penny worth over $1 million? But before we get ahead of ourselves, you need to know what makes this coin so special. In 1982, there were 7 varieties of the Lincoln penny. That's right, 7. They came in both large date and small date versions, struck in copper and zinc, and from different mints: Denver, Philadelphia, and San Francisco. But only one combination, the 1982 no mint mark small date copper, is the holy grail. Now here's where it gets exciting. To tell them apart, you don't need fancy tools or years of experience. Just your eyes and a simple test. Hold the coin flat under a good light and look at the date. If the 2 in 1982 curves sharply and sits higher than the 1, that's a large date. But if the 2 is slender, it's top level with the 9 and 8, you might be holding a small date. And that's the one you want, the small date. But wait, that's not all. Because even a small date isn't enough. You need to know the metal. Here's how to test it. Drop the penny gently on a hard surface. Copper makes a distinct, ringing ping, while zinc makes a dull, flat sound. Or better yet, weigh it. A copper penny weighs 3.11 grams. A zinc penny weighs only 2.5 grams. That small difference can mean $1 million payday. Collectors have spent years hunting for this one coin. It's become a legend whispered across coin shows and online forums. People dig through rolls of pennies for hours, days, weeks, hoping lightning will strike. And for one man, it did. He was just an ordinary collector from the Midwest, someone who'd been checking his spare change since he was a kid. One night, he pulled out an old roll of 1982 pennies. Nothing special, or so he thought, but something about one coin felt heavier. He dropped it on the table and heard that pure copper ring. He waited. 3.11 grams. No mint mark. Small date. He had just found one of the rarest coins in American history. When word spread, disbelief turned to frenzy. News outlets called it the $1,000,000 penny. Collectors everywhere started searching again. Some even quit their jobs to focus full-time on hunting through boxes of pennies from banks and estate sales. And who could blame them? For a chance at $1.5 million, anyone would look twice at a handful of change. But here's the truth most people don't realize. These coins didn't vanish. They're still out there, hidden in drawers, jars, or coffee cans across America. Most likely, in places that haven't been searched in decades. The idea that one person, one lucky moment, could uncover a life-changing coin. It keeps the dream alive. Now let's take a moment to reset your focus. Imagine holding that penny in your hand. The weight, the color, the texture. Think about the story it carries, the decades it's traveled unnoticed. Every scratch, every mark is part of its silent journey. And now, you could be the one to uncover its secret. To be clear, only a few confirmed examples exist. That's what gives it its staggering value. $1.5 million for a coin that costs 1 cent to spend. The irony is breathtaking. It's proof that treasure doesn't always sparkle. Sometimes, it hides in copper and dust. Check the mint mark. The rare one has no mint mark under the date. Step 2. Look for the small date style. The 2 level with the 9 and 8. Step 3. Weigh the coin. If it's 3.11 grams, it's copper. And step 4. Confirm it's not magnetic. Real copper won't stick to a magnet. That if you find one that matches all those signs, you could be holding something worth a fortune. And if you ever think, it can't happen to me, remember, the people who found these coins were ordinary Americans. No connections, no special tools, no insider access. Just curiosity and persistence. Every great discovery starts with someone who refused to overlook the ordinary. So tonight, after you watch this video, pull out that jar of pennies. Look closer. Feel the weight. Because one of them might not just be old, it might be historic. Collectors and dealers across the country are still hunting for more examples. They believe there are still a few out there, waiting to be found. Think about that. $1 million could be sitting inside a coffee can in someone's kitchen, completely unnoticed. This isn't just about money. It's about discovery, legacy, and wonder. The feeling that something you've held 1,000 times might suddenly reveal a secret that changes everything. And that's what makes this coin so powerful. It's a reminder that opportunity often hides in plain sight. That greatness doesn't always shine. Sometimes, it just weighs a little more. Next time you see a 1982 penny with no mint mark, stop. Look closer. Listen to that ring. Weigh it. Test it. Because the difference between copper and zinc could be the difference between pocket change and $1 million treasure. A simple, ordinary-looking 1979 Lincoln cent, the kind you've seen 1,000 times, hiding in your pocket change, quietly holding a secret worth $1.6 million. It sounds impossible, right? But for a few lucky collectors, that dream became a stunning reality. And if you know what to look for, it could happen to you. It all began in 1979, a year most collectors thought held nothing special for the humble penny. The U.S. Mint had already been producing billions of Lincoln cents for decades. People used them, tossed them into jars, forgot about them. But somewhere in the minting chaos, something remarkable happened, something that would remain unnoticed for years. Some 1979 pennies were struck without a mint mark, that tiny letter that tells you where the coin was made. Normally, a 1979 penny with no mint mark came from Philadelphia, and that was nothing unusual. But there were a few coins that weren't just missing a letter. They carried microscopic differences that made them stand out, rare beyond belief. To the untrained eye, they looked ordinary. To the sharp-eyed collector, they were the find of a lifetime. Now, before you go rushing to your coin jar, listen closely. The $1 million versions of the 1979 no mint mark penny aren't just any coin. They have specific details that make them priceless. The first thing to check is the mint strike. These rare coins were produced using slightly misaligned dies, meaning Lincoln's profile appears just a hair sharper and more defined, especially around the beard and jawline. The letters in Liberty and the date, 1979, often have a stronger, deeper impression. Next, the color. A standard penny has that familiar dull copper look. but the valuable ones often have a deep, reddish luster, the kind of tone that comes from being perfectly preserved or struck on a high-quality planchet. Under the right light, it almost glows, as if the coin knows its own worth. And then there's the condition. These coins are virtually flawless. No scratches, no wear, no fading. They've survived decades untouched, sealed away in collections, or forgotten in drawers. The closer to mint state your penny is, the higher its potential value climbs. Some of these flawless coins have been valued at over $1.6 million at private auctions, shocking even veteran coin dealers. Think about that for a moment. A coin that cost 1 cent, now commanding a $1 million price tag. The idea seems unreal, but the truth is that the coin market is fueled by passion, rarity, and history. Each imperfection, each missing mint mark, tells a story of how it slipped through the mint's precision, escaping into the world as a tiny piece of mystery. Collectors describe finding these coins as a heart-stopping moment. One man reportedly discovered his 1979 no-mint mark penny in an old roll he'd been saving for years. He nearly spent it before realizing something about it felt different. The shine, the texture, the way the light caught Lincoln's cheek. He sent it for grading, and when the results came back, his world changed overnight. The appraiser's voice trembled as they revealed the number. It was nearly perfect, a once-in-a-generation strike. That single penny was worth more than most homes in America. Every collector dreams of that moment. The discovery that turns a lifetime of searching into an instant reward. But finding a coin like this isn't about luck. It's about knowledge, patience, and the thrill of the hunt. You have to know what you're looking for, and you have to care enough to look closely. If you want to check your 1979 pennies, start simple. Grab a magnifying glass and a soft light. Lay the coin flat and look for the date, 1979. No mint mark beneath it. Then look at the lettering, especially "In God We Trust," the spacing, the clarity, the sharpness of each letter. On rare pieces, these letters are perfectly struck, with no doubling, no fade, no weakness. The rim is even, the finish flawless. If your coin has all those signs, you could be holding a piece of numismatic history. Collectors often underestimate how many small variations exist between coins. In 1979, the mint used different dies across locations, and tiny differences, even in the angle of a strike, could produce a unique result. Some coins were struck using test planchets or early dies that produced sharper details before they wore down. Those early strikes are what experts call first strike coins, and they're often the most valuable. But there's another layer to this mystery, one that still puzzles experts today. Some 1979 no-mint mark pennies show characteristics that don't match Philadelphia's standard production process. The metal composition, the weight, even the die polish seem to suggest experimental batches. These coins weren't supposed to exist, and yet, somehow, they do. That's what keeps collectors hooked. The mystery, the chase, the dream that something incredible might still be out there. Because it is. Somewhere in the millions of coins still in circulation, there could be another one, hiding in a coffee can, a desk drawer, or a forgotten piggy bank. That value isn't always about what's obvious. It's about what's hidden beneath the surface, the rare, the overlooked, the extraordinary waiting to be discovered, just like the people who find them. Imagine showing your friends a penny that could buy a house, a car, or even change your retirement. Imagine realizing that something you've had for years, something you thought was worthless, is actually worth $1 million. That's not just a collector's fantasy. It's reality for a lucky few. And here's the truth. Most people will never look closely enough to notice. They'll keep spending pennies without a second thought. But not you. You're the one who looks twice. The one who knows that history hides in plain sight. So tonight, when you empty your pockets or open that old coin jar, take a second look. Check every detail. Because one of those 1979 no-mint mark pennies could be the one. The one that changes everything. The one that turns an ordinary day into the most extraordinary discovery of your life. And when that happens, when you hold it in your hand, you'll realize it was never just a penny. It was a key to your fortune, a piece of history, a miracle hiding in copper. Imagine finding a coin that's been sitting in your pocket change for years, a coin that looks so ordinary, so simple, you'd never think twice about it. Now imagine discovering that this same coin, a 1971 S. Lincoln penny could be worth up to $1.7 million. That's not a dream. That's reality for a handful of collectors who stumbled upon something extraordinary hiding in plain sight. It all begins in 1971. The U.S. Mint in San Francisco was producing proof coins, perfect strikes meant only for collectors. But that year, something mysterious happened. A few pennies slipped through the cracks, coins that shouldn't exist. They were struck on experimental planchets, or with rare die errors, the kind of mistakes that make a coin's value skyrocket into the millions. The 1971 S penny has become the stuff of legend among collectors. Most people see a copper coin, but the truth is, not all 1971 S pennies are created equal. Some carry tiny differences that only a trained eye can see: a doubled die, an off-metal strike, a proof with mirror-like field struck from a master die gone wrong. These are the kinds of details that transform 1 cent into $1 million treasure. Pause for a second. Think about that. 1 penny, worth more than most houses. Every time you pass a handful of change to a cashier or clean out your junk drawer, you could be letting a fortune slip through your fingers. The story gets deeper. When the 1971 proof set was released, collectors noticed subtle differences in the Lincoln cent. Under magnification, the word Liberty appeared doubled. The date looked slightly thicker. The S, mint mark, carefully hand-punched into the die, wasn't always placed perfectly. Some were tilted, some repunched, and some showed faint doubling that's almost invisible to the naked eye. These tiny mistakes would later become the key to unlocking million-dollar value. Now, imagine being the person who finds one. A coin dealer once told the story of a man who bought an old proof set at a garage sale for $2. Inside was a 1971 S penny with a doubling so clear it could be seen with the naked eye. That single coin sold for over $70,000. But experts believe a pristine example, with perfect doubling and proof surfaces, could reach $1.7 million at auction. That's life-changing money for something smaller than a thumbnail. If you've ever dreamed of discovering a coin that changes your life, this is the one to look for. The 1971 S Lincoln penny can hide anywhere, in old proof sets, inherited collections, or forgotten coin albums in dusty attics. And the first step to finding it is knowing what to look for. Take out a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. Look closely at the date, 1971. Focus on the 7 and the 1. Do you see faint shadows, slight overlapping edges, or a doubled outline? Now check Liberty, and in God we trust. Doubling there is a telltale sign. The doubling should look like a ghost image, perfectly aligned yet slightly shifted. Then turn your attention to the mint mark. The S should be sharp, not blurred, but if you see a faint second S, that's what collectors call a repunched mint mark. That small detail could mean your penny is worth hundreds of thousands, or even over $1 million. Those are the ones that make headlines. The most famous example sold for a record price, stunning the coin world and sparking a frenzy among collectors searching for more. And to this day, the exact number of these error coins remains a mystery. No one knows how many escaped the mint or where they might be hiding now. Take a deep breath. Because this story isn't just about money. It's about history, luck, and the thrill of discovery. It's about the moment you realize something so small could change everything. Coin collecting isn't just a hobby, it's a hunt. And every coin tells a story if you know how to listen. Think about the person who minted that penny in 1971. They never imagined their mistake would become one of the most sought-after treasures in American numismatic history. Decades later, collectors still whisper about the 1971 S like it's a myth. But it's not a myth. It's real. And it's still out there. Reset your focus. Imagine you're sitting at your kitchen table, sorting through an old jar of pennies. You see the familiar reddish-brown color, the worn edges, the quiet history in every coin. Then, 1 penny catches your eye. It shines a little differently. Maybe the details seem sharper. You tilt it under the light and notice something strange in the date. That's the moment everything changes. Your heart races. Could it be the one? You check Liberty. The letters look doubled. You turn it over. The S mint mark shows a faint shadow. You just might be holding one of the rarest coins in American history. Professional coin graders can confirm the authenticity, and that's where the journey really begins. PCGS, NGC, and annex are the trusted names that can verify if you found the true 1971 double die-proof penny. Once verified, collectors and auction houses compete for it, driving the price higher and higher. Million-dollar bids are not just rumors. They've happened before. Think about what that means. A coin made to represent 1 cent, a symbol of everyday value, now commanding over $1 million. It's a reminder that even the smallest things can hold unimaginable worth, and that's why collectors never stop looking. They check proof sets, they scan online marketplaces, they study minting errors. Because they know the truth, somewhere, hidden in a box, in a basement, in an untouched drawer, one of these rare 1971 pennies is waiting to be found. And if you've ever doubted that fortune favors the curious, let this story be proof. Every major discovery started with someone who simply took a closer look. The next person could be you. So tonight, when you're home, grab that old coin jar. Pull out every penny from 1971. Hold each one to the light. Use a magnifier. Search for the doubling, for that repunched S. Because you never know, your next discovery might not just be worth thousands, but over $1 million. Imagine holding a single penny, just 1 cent, that could change your entire life. A coin that's worth not $1, not 100, not even 1,000, but up to $1.8 million. That's right. Hidden in plain sight, the 1969 Lincoln penny has become one of the most mysterious and shocking discoveries in modern coin collecting history. And right now, it could be sitting quietly in a coffee can, a jar of loose change, or maybe even your wallet, completely unnoticed. Most people see a penny as nothing, something to drop on the counter, toss in a tip jar, or ignore when it rolls under the car seat. But for a few lucky collectors, that tiny coin has turned into a golden ticket. And it all began with a simple mistake made deep inside the U.S. Mint more than 50 years ago. Back in 1969, America was in the middle of change, moon landings, protests, and pride in every direction. The Mint in Denver was running full steam, producing billions of Lincoln Memorial cents. But somewhere in that process, a small handful of coins slipped through the cracks, coins that should never have existed. These coins weren't just ordinary errors. They carried a doubling so sharp, so bold, it looked like the coin itself was shouting at the world. Collectors now call it the 1969 double die obverse penny. The date, the word liberty, and especially in God we trust, appeared doubled, like a shadow of metal frozen in time. It's one of the rarest and most valuable errors ever found on a Lincoln cent. And what's even more mysterious, only a few genuine examples have ever been verified. Imagine the moment you flip over a penny under a lamp and your breath catches. You notice something strange. The letters look thicker, almost ghosted. You tilt it slightly. The light catches it again, and the doubling leaps out. Your heart starts racing. You might think it's your eyes playing tricks on you. Before you start digging through your change, here's the key. There are two things you need to know to identify the real 1969 double die penny. First, it must have the Denver D mint mark just below the date. Second, and most importantly, the doubling should be visible with the naked eye. It's not faint or fuzzy. On genuine coins, the doubling on Liberty and In God We Trust is crisp, strong, and unmistakable. The date 1969 itself looks like it's been stamped twice with absolute precision. Now, here's where it gets fascinating. For years, collectors thought these coins were counterfeit. Even the Secret Service got involved, confiscating some early finds. It wasn't until experts at the U.S. Mint examined them closely that the truth came out. They were real, genuine mint errors. And each one was suddenly worth a fortune. Think about that. Ordinary Americans, who thought they'd found a worthless penny, were now holding something that could pay off their mortgage, buy their dream home, or fund their retirement. That's not just luck, that's life-changing discovery. It's about rarity and condition. Fewer than 30 authentic examples are known to exist. The best ones, uncirculated, bright, and clean, can command prices well over $1 million at auction. One even sold for more than $1.8 million, shattering records and leaving collectors stunned. You're at your kitchen table, sorting through a jar of pennies, half out of boredom. The copper glints under the light, and there it is, a 1969 D. You almost toss it aside, but something about it catches your eye. The letters look thick, bold. You grab a magnifying glass, your hands start trembling, and then you see it, the doubling. In that moment, everything stops. That single coin just changed your life. Every collector dreams of that discovery. Every dealer secretly hopes a new one will surface. It's like the modern-day gold rush, but instead of rivers and pickaxes, it's pockets and piggy banks. But here's the truth few people talk about. The 1969 D-double die is just one of many incredible errors still out there. Each year, millions of coins enter circulation. Machines miss strike, dies wear out, small imperfections escape detection. And among all that copper and zinc, treasures remain. It's not fantasy, it's probability. Someone, somewhere, will find the next million-dollar penny. Now let's reset your focus. You've heard the story, you've felt the excitement, but let's make sure you know exactly what to look for. Take out a penny from 1969. Check the mint mark. It must have a small D under the date. Next, look closely at the words Liberty and In God We Trust. The letters should look doubled, almost like they've been printed twice. If you can see it clearly without magnification, you might be staring at one of the most valuable coins ever made. But be careful. The internet is filled with claims of 1969 D-double dies that are nothing more than machine doubling, flat, shelf-like distortions caused by vibrations. Those are worth face value only. True double dies are sharp and distinct, with rounded doubling that matches the depth of the original strike. If you're unsure, send it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. They've authenticated the real ones, and they'll tell you if you've hit the jackpot. Every collector who's ever held one describes the same feeling, a mix of disbelief and awe. They say the weight of that small copper coin feels different, heavier, as if it carries history itself. The idea that something so small, so ordinary, can be worth $1 million. It changes the way you see everything around you. Some people spend years searching, attending coin shows, digging through rolls, chasing that one in a billion find. But sometimes, destiny isn't out there. It's right at home, sitting quietly in your change jar. Think of the man who found one decades after it was minted. He wasn't a professional collector, just someone curious enough to look a little closer. That curiosity turned into a life-changing discovery. That's what makes coin collecting so powerful. It's history, art, and luck intertwined in your own hands. So tonight, when you empty your pockets, don't overlook that dull little penny. Pick it up, study it, and remember, every great treasure story starts with someone who refused to ignore the ordinary. Because this isn't just a story about a coin. It's a reminder that value often hides where we least expect it. That sometimes, fortune is literally at our fingertips. Take a look at every 1969 penny you come across. The next one you find might not just be copper. It could be your key to financial freedom.